This Luka Doncic and Anthony Davis trade actually makes a lot of sense. While it's unexpected for sure because we didn't even know about it, nobody knew about it. It makes a lot of sense for both teams, and I'm gonna tell you why. First off, starting with the Lakers, you have LeBron James. He's your best player. It's not Anthony Davis, despite him being fifth in MVP voting and likely going to be the runner-up for Defensive Player of the Year. LeBron is still the best player, and he's not going to be on the Lakers forever. Okay, he has his son Bronny playing with him, but that doesn't mean that he's going to wait for Bryce to join the team too. So you need a future star. Anthony Davis is already 31. He has a history of injuries. We call him glass knees for a reason, and you need to set up for the future. If you're the Los Angeles Lakers, if you can do it right now, then why wouldn't you? You have a good record. You're a fourth in the West, I believe, and so why would you trade? Why would you make any moves if you're contending already? Well, because you're not quite there. There's a significant gap between the Lakers and the Nuggets and the Celtics and the Thunder. These teams who have not only better records, but are just more built for the playoffs, more built for the contention. The Lakers, like LeBron said, you need to play nearly perfect or something along those lines if you want to win a game, right? With the way the roster is constructed. So with Luka on the team, that's going to be a little bit more insurance for LeBron, as he doesn't have to be the go-to scorer. Because while Anthony Davis has been good, he's not necessarily known for being clutch. He's not necessarily known for hitting these good shots as Luka Doncic is. With Luka on the team now, LeBron has that secondary scorer. Or LeBron doesn't even have to be the first primary scorer anymore, because LeBron's been arguably better. I think he has more games where he leads the Lakers in scoring than Anthony Davis. In fact, even though Anthony Davis has been scoring good this year, he's been scoring 40-point games. But if you look at like NBA highlight videos, if you look at who the thumbnail is, it's never Anthony Davis. It's always LeBron James. And that's not just because LeBron James is more famous, but LeBron has had a more significant effect on whether or not the Lakers win the game. So who's untouchable? It's obviously LeBron, but no team has two untouchable players. That's one thing that I've come to realize, that every team has only one untouchable, if they have any at all. Like, you would think, oh, what about the Bucks and Damon Giannis? Well, Giannis is only untouchable there, right? If you look at the Heat, Jimmy Butler's not untouchable. If you look at the Spurs, Wembanyama's untouchable. Devin Vassell, who cares? Keldon Johnson, he's not. He can go, right? Every team only has one. So for the Lakers, that one untouchable player has always been LeBron James. Ever since he arrived, he's the only one who has to be on this team. If you look at the Suns even, you hear multiple names getting thrown in trade talks all the time. Every team only has one untouchable player. And for the Lakers, that's not Anthony Davis. So they were open to trading Anthony Davis. And what's so interesting about me, okay, first, I'll explain why this is good for them later. But what's interesting is that Luka Doncic never even requested a trade. Usually when you see a superstar of his caliber get traded to another team, especially like to a big market even, is because they want a trade. They want to go there, and they have to, the ownership has nothing to do. They have no choice but to trade him. But Luka didn't even come to the office and be like, hey, yo, trade me. He was just like, it was just kind of just out of the blue. And with the amount of insiders, with the amount of rumors that we hear on a day-to-day basis in the NBA, which is like one of the most insider-infested leagues there is, because we have Shams, we don't even have Woj anymore, but we have just as many great insiders. It just came out of nowhere. We still didn't know about this trade. It was last night, and I just wake up to it, and with just seeing that Luka Doncic had been traded, and at first I thought it was clickbait. I thought it was one of those like rumor videos, how you always see those like on the websites. I was like, oh, this guy gets traded for this guy in a mock trade, but that part is cut off usually when you're scrolling. Well, I thought this was one of those. I didn't think that the Lakers would trade for Luka Doncic. I didn't think the Mavericks would trade Luka Doncic. That's the first and most important part of this trade that I didn't think was going to happen. But it actually makes sense, and I'm going to tell you why. Because the Mavericks defense has been their biggest issue. When you have both Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic, neither of them are really great defenders, even though they both try. Luka's been trying hard in the playoffs, right? In the playoffs, he's at least a mediocre defender. He's still below average, but he gives effort, a little bit of effort. So if you're winning games without Luka Doncic, they won games without Luka and Kyrie. They beat the Lakers with neither Luka nor Kyrie healthy. But if you're the Mavericks, you do not need two superstar point guards. That rarely ever. I don't even think that any NBA team has ever won a championship with the two superstars being both point guards. That's just not how it's going to work. So if you can keep one and trade the other for a great big man like Anthony Davis is. Anthony Davis is someone who can play the center. I don't think there's been a problem with Anthony Davis playing center. People are saying for years that the Lakers need a center and Anthony Davis prefers playing the four. Well, He's a really good center. He can guard the center spot. He can get the rebounds. He can do everything that a center can. So I think he needs to buckle up and play center. But that's besides the point. The Mavericks now have a great superstar point guard, a great superstar center, or power forward, whatever you want to consider Anthony Davis. So they are built better for contention because they never needed two scores, really. You have Kyrie Irving, who's clutch. He's made clutch shots, even on the Mavericks. Game winners, okay? So what does having Luka really serve to the table? Because you thought he was untouchable because he's your superstar player. He's really young. He's only 25, turns 26 next month. He's entering his prime. He has at least like 5-6 good years of being one of the best players in the league, okay? Top 5 players in the league for sure, undoubtedly. I think he should have won MVP last year. But you can be better off without him because we have a front court of Quentin Grimes and Kyrie Irving, or backcourt of Quentin Grimes and Kyrie Irving. You have a front court of Daniel Gafford. If you don't want to trade him, right? Daniel Gafford has been playing out of his mind. He's been playing really great. But you have him, the future of Derek Lively. You have the Jaden Hardy still as your developing guard. These guys that you didn't lose in the trade. Not to mention you have Klay Thompson, who has shown that he can still get hot when he needs to. He had a game earlier with like 10 threes, I believe. So you have all these great players. And if you don't even have to include them in the trade, just trade away Maxi Kleber. Like, they're going to have to trade some guys eventually, right? This before the trade deadline ends, because I believe they're going to have to deal with some contracts potentially. Just having that many players on the team usually doesn't work out who are role players because they need minutes, right? You're not going to have these guys just sitting on the bench and wasting your money. So you're going to have to trade some of these guys to whether it be the Jazz or the Mavericks, or I mean, not the Mavericks, but the Pistons, Hornets, Nets, probably even like some of those teams, Wizards. But the Mavericks have a good starting lineup, I believe. I don't feel too certain about PJ Washington and Spencer Dinwiddie remaining on the team past the trade deadline, but should they? Well, they're both great players. I think Spencer Dinwiddie is one of the best backup point guards in the league. I mean, he's starting right now, obviously, but that's just because of the Luka injury. So whether he starts in the long run or if you move Klay Thompson down to the shooting guard, even though he's I don't think he can play guard anymore. He's just not that athletic enough to keep up and defend that position. But you have great defenders all across the lineup. If Klay Thompson and Kyrie Irving are your worst defenders, then you have a great defense. Okay, and what we've seen is that to win a championship, you need a good defense. Even though the NBA has been moving towards more offensive centric in the past 25 years, you still need a top 10 defense most of the time, like 9 times out of 10, if you want to win an NBA championship. And now I think the Mavericks undoubtedly have a top 10 defense because you cannot look at that many other lineups and say, okay, where they have 3 great defenders. The whole bench is a bunch of good defenders. And with Jason Kidd as a coach, they're going to play well on that side of the court, right? The Mavericks are a team that I'm pretty certain about because everybody came into the season like, oh, the Mavericks can win the championship. And then whenever they started losing games, it's like, oh, they can win the championship as long as they're healthy. Well, Luka Doncic has been hurt for a while. Okay, and as glass knees as Anthony Davis has been throughout his career, he has been healthy for 2 to 3 years with very minor injuries, not taking like any significant time away from the game of basketball. So Anthony Davis, he's somebody who can anchor this defense, who might be the best overall defender in the league when it comes to guarding the perimeter and the post. Anthony Davis is he's gonna make this defense even better than what it was. And him playing alongside Daniel Gafford, now that's something that I want to see because you've been talking about, oh, the Lakers should have gotten a center. They should get like Nikola Vucevic. Anthony Davis plays best when he's at the 4. Well, now he can play power forward, and we're seeing this come back into play. You see the Cleveland Cavaliers with the Twin Towers. You see even college basketball teams like Kentucky with their Twin Towers with Hunter Dickinson and the other guy. So I guess it's coming back into play having 2 big men because other teams, you can't really guard that. The Lakers were never able to guard that, especially because a lot of the power forwards are, they're not necessarily big men. LeBron James, he's playing power forward. Jimmy Butler plays power forward. Harrison Barnes plays power forward. And do you really think Harrison Barnes is going to be guarding Anthony Davis? Yeah, no. So the Mavericks are going to have a lot of mismatches because they have Anthony Davis now. They can just put him at the 4. They can put him at the 5. We've seen the Mavericks have some struggle with injuries in the past. We've seen Dwight Powell have to play this season, which is always a sight to see because Dwight Powell is not that good of a basketball player at all. I wish they could have traded him, honestly. And the Lakers, this is good for you because you have your future on locks for the next 10 years potentially, right? You don't have to worry about transitioning as you did. You had that dark period from Kobe Bryant to LeBron James. You're not going to have a dark period between LeBron to Luka. Now, this is the era of Luka, and the Mavs are contending as well. You can see, I can envision a Western Conference Finals between the Lakers and the Mavericks. I mean, look at their seeding in the playoffs right now. It's possible that they can meet. So let me know your thoughts on this trade. Thank you for watching. See you tomorrow.